editors. The Controller General of Nigerian Customs Service has asked importers to always present proper documentation to customs formations in the country for clearance of their consignment. Also, on customs report, FOU Zone A sees 13 trailer loads of rice within 1 month in Lagos. Plus, more reports. I am Igiseme Ejie. Stay tuned. The Controller General of Nigerian Customs Service have been speaking on the seizure of 13 trailer load of rice within 1 month by the Federal Operation Unit Zone A. According to him, 14 suspects were arrested in the process of the seizure. The customs boss commended the Customs Acting Area Controller, who is also the Deputy Controller of Customs, for the seizure made by his men in 1 month. The Customs CG said he was happy that for Zone A operative that they have continued to implement guidelines as approved by Mr. President in the country. He said that the seizures took place at different locations within the border in the southern part of the country. So that 72 million naira was collected from the issuer of debit demand notice to some importers. He urged them to desist from the act of smuggling and destroying of Nigerian economy in future.
This briefing pertains to the commendable interception of approximately 8 trailer loads of foreign parboiled rice by Federal Operations Units Zone A in October 6, 2023. We have seen a couple of other seizures made during the month of September. I'm going to be giving you the details in the course of this briefing. We are all aware of the fact that agriculture remains the cornerstone of Nigeria's economy, and it underscores federal government's commitment to achieving self-sustaining growth and enhancing the quality of life of all Nigerians. And in aligning ourselves with this commitment and the spirit of patriotism, our officers in Zone A executed a series of operations resulting in the interceptions and seizure of 7,029 50-kilogram bags of foreign parboiled rice during this period. These decisive actions took place at various times and locations, as we had shown you, within the border areas, within areas of coverage of the Federal Operations Unit Zone A. The objectives of these operations were twofold. The first one is to discourage potential traders from engaging in smuggling activities, and the second is to inflict maximum financial losses on smugglers. Beyond the parboiled rice seizures, the operations carried out by this unit also yielded very significant results in the month of September. And some of the seizures that we have seen include the following: 35,100 liters of PMS, premium motor spirits, 1,100 liters of diesel, a 40-footer container carrying 360 bales of used clothes, one 40-footer container of 150 cartons of ladies' handbags, 50 bales of knickers, and a host of other falsely declared items. 120-footer container of unprocessed woods, 106 cartons of foreign frozen poultry products, 55 pieces of used fridges, 110 pieces of used compressors, 148 cartons of foreign soap, absolute prohibition, 121 cartons of expired hair oil, 21 units of second-hand vehicles. Investigations are ongoing on some of these seizures, and we have in our custody 14 suspects in connections with the various seizures. The cumulative duty-paid value of the intercepted goods amounts to 1,757,080,889 naira. I take that figures again. 1,755,080,898 naira. Furthermore, in terms of revenue generation, the unit generated 72,807,025 naira through the meticulous documentary checks and the issuance of demand notices on consignments that were found to have paid lesser amounts than the appropriate duties. You may note that while we were checking the rice, a good number of the seized rice have gone bad. A good number of these may have gone bad because of bad storage or limited storage area, but I also want you to note that a good proportion of this rice was seized in conditions that exposed them to moist. So some of the rice bags were seized and creeks. Some of them were seized during the rainy season. Some of them were seized in swampy areas, and their integrity have already been compromised even before they got to our warehouses. That does not in any way take anything away from the fact that we need bigger spaces to warehouse all these products. Importers and licensed agents are therefore urged to make sincere declarations, adhering to existing import and export guidelines, and avoid the risk associated with the loss on their investment. Compliance is not only a legal obligation, but also a strategic choice that ensures the smooth and efficient flow of goods across our border. I want to sincerely commend the Customs Controller in charge of Federal Operations Unit, and indeed all his team scattered over the various areas of responsibility, stretching from Lagos all the way to Ogun and Osun, the northern borders of Oyo State, for these wonderful interceptions which they have made. Some of these seizures were due to very long hours and days of monitoring intelligence, following up profiles that have been done by the Customs Intelligence Unit, and then credible information provided to them in pursuant of this seizure. I want to congratulate the controller and his team for their doggedness, their determination, and the successful patrols which have resulted in this seizure. I also want to thank you, gentlemen of the press, for your effort in partnering with us to ensure that this information is disseminated far and wide and sometimes beyond the shores of this country.
The Nigerian Customs Service has seized 20 containers loaded of tomato concentrates at the port in Lagos. The Controller General of Customs said that the vigilant officers of PTLM Command, led by the Controller Yusuf, led to the seizure. He warned Nigeria's importers not to import expired products into the country. It's against the law. The Controller General of Customs stated that the containers were uncovered during a routine examination at the port. Said the expired containers was imported from Spain and were forcibly declared as annoyed shell. Said seized containers is worth over 160 million naira. Stated further that one suspect was apprehended in connection with the seized containers. Later handed over the consignment to NAFDA officials in Lagos.
I'm therefore here to announce this remarkable seizure, which marks an historic milestone in the history of the PTML Customs Command. The command have successfully intercepted and detained 20 containers filled with expired tomato concentrates, an unprecedented event since the creation of this command. Just before I delve into the details, let me emphasize that operations of this nature aligned perfectly with the goals I have set for the Nigeria Customs Service under my watch. The primary objectives is to safeguard national revenue, to curb smuggling, and ensure the security of our nation while promoting legitimate trade and business. However, something contrary to the implementation of this happened on the 8th of August 2023 During a routine examination, our vigilance officers of the PTML command uncovered a cache of expired tomato concentrates deemed unsafe and unfit for human consumption. The audacity of the smugglers to attempt introducing this hazardous product into the Nigerian market is not only shocking, but also disheartening. These expired concentrates were concealed inside 20 containers, all falsely declared as containing almond shells under the auspices of a company identified as Nicre Christie Investment Limited. In each of these containers that we have seen, there are 80 drums meticulously arranged, amounting to a total of 1,600 drums. The duty paid value on this illegal cargo is a staggering sum of 116,211,725 naira 73 kobo only. The container numbers involved in these illicit operations are as stated in the documents we are going to circulate to you. As of now, all these containers remain in our custody, officially recorded as seizure. We have apprehended a suspect, one Mr. Okonkwo Oliver Izuna, who is currently under administrative bail. But of course, he remains under investigation. This seizure was processed through separate SGDs, single goods declaration forms, is a testament to our unwavering commitment to maximally suppress smuggling and our determination to safeguard the lives of Nigerian citizens by intercepting dangerous drugs wherever they may appear. The actions taken by those involved in these unlawful activities contravene the provisions of sections 228, subsection 1 and 2, section 55, subsection C and D, and subsection 233 of the Nigeria Customs Service Act 2023. Additionally, it directly violates Schedule 4, Item 14 of the Common External Tariff CET 2022 to 2026. I would like to use this opportunity to send a stern warning to importers and their agents, urging them to steer clear of unlawful practices such as false declaration aimed at evading duties or smuggling prohibited goods into our country. The audacious attempt to introduce such a large quantity of expired food products into the Nigerian market is heartless and is inexcusable. I want to assure you that our officers and personnel will always remain vigilant, diligently scrutinizing all imports and export documents which are passing through our seaports, airports, border stations, dry ports, and indeed all our terminals nationwide. I also want to bring the attention of these importers to new provisions in the Nigeria Customs Service Act, which promulgate very, very serious sanctions. More stringent sanctions are now provided for importers who are found in this kind of situation deliberately and willfully violating the provisions of our trade laws. It is essential to reiterate that compliant importers and their agents can now expect streamlined clearance processes, with consignments, particularly if they are automobile, cleared within 3 hours when importations comply with our regulations and when they involve honest declarations and prompt payment of duties. Before I close, I am happy that we have the presence of the representative of the Director General of NAFDAC here with us, whose mandate covers the administration and regulations of food and food products. And to that representative, through him to the DG, we will be handing over these containers. Eventually, we'll hand over the apprehended suspect for further processing, which we are sure will include prosecution. In conclusion, I want to implore all importers and their agents to act patriotically by making honest declarations. Remember that compliance brings numerous benefits, including building a reputation for integrity, saving time and money by avoiding demand notices and penalties, and staying out of troubles that could lead to imprisonment, loss of licenses, and blacklisting. I want to thank you all for your attention and appreciate your understanding that what we are doing is in pursuit and compliance of our legitimate mandate to rid our nation of dangerous imports.
You are watching the program Customs Report. The Nigerian Customs Service Ogun 1 Command has accepted 1,436 used tires and 568 pieces of cannabis worth millions of naira. The seizures were made within 2 weeks by the Deputy Controller in charge of the command. The Acting Controller General of Customs noted that the customs will continue to seize any consignments brought into the country without proper approval.
Smuggling is an evil. It portends very grave danger to our economy, not only to our safety, security, but also in a way they also help to prevent us from getting revenue to run the development agenda of the government. So we have identified with that vision, and we are motivated to support this cardinal vision of government. So if you look at the policy advisory document of President Ahmed Tinubu, there are very, very conspicuous reference to the determination to allow the growth of our local industry, to boost exports, to make locally produced products more competitive.
This incident that the importation of foreign used tires, known as Tokumbo tires, is not allowed under the law. According to him, a significant number of these tires have exceeded their recommended lifespan from the manufacturing industry in the country. So the seizure of the cannabis will continue until the smugglers stop smuggling consignment like this into the country. According to him, the seizures were made along Ijebu-Ode Road in Ogun State.
According to safety experts, good tires are safe for use only for 4 years from the date of manufacturing. Any usage after this poses a significant risk to motorists, and it also jeopardizes our lives.
The Customs Area Controller in charge of Katsina Command has been speaking to members of his staff alongside stakeholders operating in the state. The controller told other security agencies in the zone to continue to work with customs so as to stop smuggling activities in the nation's border. He visited some head security agencies in the zone with some of the management team of the command.
We are an agency which functions apart from anti-smuggling is trade facilitation. So while facilitating trade, we are not going to compromise national security. So in doing so, I have to go around and carry the message of the CGC. So I'm here as an agent of change, peacemaker, tax collector, you understand, and anti-smuggling fight.
The Customs Area Controller in charge of the Port Command has been speaking to stakeholders in the industry, saying that the command will continue to improve on the workings of stakeholders operating at the port. According to him, the command will continue to implement government policies that will help stakeholders and business operators to operate effectively at the Lemon Port in Lagos.
Sure.
It provides avenue for us to know the challenges the stakeholders, the Nigerian exporters, they are facing. It is when we hear from them that we'll be able to know what we still need to do to make things better for them. Because we know that the present government, they want to do everything to facilitate business of export. And our Controller General is somebody that attaches a very great priority to facilitating export, in tune with the vision of the current federal government. There are so many foreign investors that may be interested in coming to Nigeria to invest, maybe in the business of export. When they look at it that to do export Nigeria, there is no impediment, they will be encouraged, one way or the other, to bounce back to the teeming youth who will be employed in this course of business.
The Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of Zone 2, Mohammed Ali, has said that maritime police should stop interfering with cargo clearance at the port and concentrate on ensuring national security, which is their primary responsibility. The IG said that the idea of stopping and searching containers inside the port is customs job. He made a call when he visited NAGAF headquarters in Lagos.
My advice to them is for them to be upright in their business. As partners, we'll continue to work together in the interest of this nation and, of course, for the country to grow bigger than where we all are now. Having a parley like this with all of them, I've never for one day on one-on-one had any discussion on that. But I'm happy today is a day that God has set aside for that, and we deliberated exhaustively and everybody is satisfied with what we have all discussed. Our interest basically is to move the nation forward and to move the industry also forward. They should do their due diligence, ensure that they scrutinize the information very well before intercepting any container on the road. And it is not in the interest of the force for our members to be seen intercepting containers along the road. I told you earlier on, our job is all about partnership. And that is where community policing comes in. No one does it alone. We'll continue to partner with them in the interest of the nation. And of course, in the spirit of inter-service cooperation.
The founder of NAGAF, Dr. Boniface Adebunam, said that the police and agents will continue to maintain the rules of clearance at the port.
Having done that, I took it from there. We have been with him from all these areas he has mentioned, from Denton to DCP Ops, out to commissionership in Rivers, in Delta, anything that has to do with police matter. If it's what we cannot handle, I'll call him up and he will intervene. And our friendship is not because we are involved in criminality. Our friendship is flowing because this compound abhors criminality. And I'm aware and I'm sure, aside from his own experience, that the area officers here who are present here, I see, will tell you that this compound, the gates is always open. And there was never a day police came to this compound and arrested them. If you want to be a friend of the police, you have one simple thing to do. To understand the need to respect the law of the land, the constitutional provisions. And that's how you can be a friend of the police. For those who want to be friends of the police because you are involved in criminal actions and you want that protection, you are not their friend. Because the way you can support a person in authority is to do the right thing. And that's the only way I think I've been able to make NAGAF people to understand that if we must succeed in our journey of liberation, we must engage the professional standards and respect the rule of law.
Just before I round up this week edition of the program Customs Report, we brought you a report where serious words 1.8 billion naira was seized by one of the commands in the country. For me, Igesemete, thanks for watching.